Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to be here with you this afternoon. I'm Jana Matthews. I'm with the Grace Company.
I'm Allegra Erznosnik.
I'm Lynn from KathyQuilts.
We're so excited to have you here today, Lynn. When we first were talking about doing this event and Lynn said, well, I can come into the studio, we're like, yes, that's so awesome. We're so excited to have you here. Again, this is our inaugural KathyQuilts event. We're so excited to have everyone here. We want to hear where you're coming in from. So just put a comment in the chat for us. Let us know where you're coming in from. We want to see where everybody's coming in. So far, I've seen someone said, hello, good morning from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. So that one's pretty great. So
Nice.
We've got a far-reaching group here so far.
Not so sunny here.
Yeah, not so sunny. We had some rain going on. We had some other things. So yeah, so we want to hear how where everybody's coming in from. Thank you so much for joining us. So we just want to go over our schedule today of everything that we're going to be talking about. So first, we're going to watch, after we've given some information, we're going to have a wonderful information about KathyQuilts and how you guys got started. Do you want to talk about that video at all a little bit?
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. We started out working with the Grace Company years and years ago. It was like 25 years ago. And so we seen all the different locations where they were. And so finally I did the video and talked about that. So we'll be showing that video later on.
Awesome. So then we're going to get, we're going to do that. We're going to do our giveaways. Today we're going to give up out a 10-foot luminous light bar. And let's take a look at that. Allie, do you want to talk about the light bar and what were we going to be giving away?
Yeah, absolutely. So our first giveaway is going to be the 10-foot luminous light bar. And then the second giveaway of the day is going to be the Quilters combo. And then the grand giveaway at the end of the event is going to be the Cutie bundle, which includes the Cutie frame, the bungee clamps, and an 8-pack of finesse thread.
Oh, that's going to be so awesome. I can't wait to give those away. Before we get going, we're also going to be talking about fundamentals of free motion quilting part 1 with Carla, and also how to quilt on the Cutie frame. Now that video is with Carla and LJ, who they were filming this during quarantine. So they are wearing masks, but don't worry, they're mic'd up, so you'll be able to hear them. And then we're going to come back. We'll do some Q&A on that. And then we're going to do some wonderful live segments of new product that we're coming in. So we're bringing it in for all these new pieces that we've gotten from 2022. It's going to be really great. So first, let's get going. We're going to start our KathyQuilts story. So we're going to go to that now, and we're going to hear Lynn a little bit more.
Hi, this is Lynn from KathyQuilts. And about 27 years ago, I wanted to get a really nice gift for Kathy. The problem was with 6 kids and all those hungry mouths to feed.
Our mic's not hot anymore.
We didn't have a lot of extra money.
So are you unmuted on?
We had been over to
So
a
I'll
Bernina
unmute
dealer
here.
nearby at Stylish Fabrics in Logan, Utah. I wanted to talk to the owner and see if he would trade, and I would do a website for him. And he was busy at that time, so
no, go ahead and just they should hear it, but just so that we can hear it.
On that. And so I was kind of doubtful that he really wanted to do anything, but I did go back and I found out that he was really interested. Back then, websites and things were kind of a new thing, the internet and all that. So I was trying to learn how to do those things, do digital images, all that, and it was all new. But anyway, so Mike said, well, I don't really want to do anything with Bernina, with that on the internet. And, again, those things were kind of new of what we could advertise, all that stuff. Anyway, his mother would do crib sets and receiving blankets. And so we thought, okay, well, we'll do that. So we came up with a website, called it Nursery Time, spelled Tyme. And, it was really interesting taking pictures of the different things. The problem was that we didn't know a lot about how to advertise on the internet, and so it was kind of hard to get people to find you. Anyway, as we set up the page, um, for some reason we put a Grace Easy 3 frame on our one of our pages, and it wasn't our main focus, but just after a few months and not really selling very much, we kind of had decided to just give up, and just that we just didn't know what we were doing. So one time we were sitting down to dinner and we get a phone call, and the person says, "Are you still selling those Grace Easy 3 quilting frames?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, we'd love to send you one." And so I went back and talked to Mike about it. And so we went and changed our website from Nursery Time to Sewers and Quilters. And that was kind of like, yeah, kind of a funky name, but it's really hard to name something like that. So what we did was, um, I would take pictures of machines that Mike would take in from schools. He would do all the repairs on school sewing machines. And so he had a really good deal on a bunch of used machines that he would take in, and then he would refurbish them, and then we'd sell them. And so we sold a ton of those. It worked out really well. But his wife, thought that Sewers and Quilters was kind of funny, because she said, "Well, why would you name it Sewers and Quilters?" And we thought, yeah, that is kind of weird. So also in the meantime, after we got to know Mike more, Kathy, who would go over there, and because he has lots of really nice quilting fabrics and all that stuff, she asked him if he thought that she would like to get a long arm quilter, because she really was interested in that, and she had done some research about it. Matter of fact, we had gone down to visit Laurel Barris, who was the person who started Handy Quilter. And anyway, we got a relationship with her, and I think she even let Kathy try out her machine, or either that or Kathy was too afraid to try it. I don't remember. But anyway, long story short, Kathy ended up getting a Gamma. And so this is a really expensive quilting machine. For those that don't know, if you wanted to buy one of those these days, they're right around 25 to 30,000. And then if you add computer automation with that, then it can be closer to 40, 45,000. So a lot of money. And so back in the day when she did it, she still had to borrow about $10,000 from her family. They had a trust, and so she said, "Yeah, well, this is what I want to do," and so then she kind of explained how she would pay that money back. Anyway, she started quilting uh, on her Gamma, and she did about 27 quilts before she ever tried to do it for money. And so she would have her friends bring her quilts, and she said that, "Okay, I'll do these for free if you donate these quilts." And so she got a lot of practice, and she has had a ton of experience over the years. When she was about 6 or so, she learned how to sew. And so one of the greatest things or funnest things that she did when she was young is she would make Barbie clothes. And so her mom wouldn't let her use her machine, but there was another machine that she got from her grandma, or she was able to use it. Anyway, she also had a treadle machine that she learned on as well. And so it didn't matter which machine she used. She just was really excited about doing that. And then just through the years, she did her own clothes when she was in high school and in college. So she's really an awesome seamstress. But she also, when we got married, we were really struggling. I didn't have a really good job, but she would do nightgowns and the little nighty sets, and so there would be different craft shows that she would do, and she could make a ton of money on those. And it was really awesome. She's always been an entrepreneur. Her dad was a farmer, and so he would have a lot of side jobs that he would do, and so she picked up that spirit, and it was really awesome. But anyway, meanwhile, with our sewers and quilters, I was going over to Logan one day to talk to Mike Carlson, and I was thinking about a different name because that sewers and quilters really didn't work. And so then I was thinking about Kathy and thinking about what she did, and it was like, oh wow, Kathy Quilts. And so that's how we came up with that name. And so it worked out really well. We by that time had developed a pretty good relationship with the Grace Company. I had, in the meantime, gotten a job at Gateway Computer down in Salt Lake City, Utah, and so I could stop at the Grace Company and I could pick up those Easy 3 quilting frames, and so I'd get 30 of them at a time. And since I was picking them up, it would save on shipping, and so we could sell them really cheaply, and it worked out really well. So we sold them on eBay. We were the first dealers to be able to be allowed to do that. The Grace Company was really strict about selling on the internet, and the people had to have a brick and mortar store. They didn't want any virtual shops or like at that time, and so they got to know us really well, and I would go in there all the time, um, and we were really good buds. Anyway, so um, after selling on eBay for a while, we did really well, and then one time I actually even did an event for the Grace Company in um, in Chicago, and that was really interesting. But one thing that was really hard when I did that was I kept on wanting to talk about KathyQuilts. While I was there in uh, that Chicago show or Rosemont, um, Laurel came over from her booth where she was doing her Sweet 16 16-inch machine, and so that's how Handy Quilter was starting out. And we would sell a little short arm Juki machine on the machine frames um, that we had the Grace Company develop. At first, they were hesitant to do a frame where you would put your own home sewing machine on it. But after talking to them and with Kathy and her experience with long arm quilting, she helped them to develop it, and we'd go down and test it out, and she'd tell them what she needed, and so they were really good to work with. Um, and it was really kind of an interesting process how that all came together. But we did figure out that just doing a little short arm machine, just it wasn't big enough of a throat to be very effective. We know that Handy Quilter had sold a ton of those frames where they just put it on the tabletop, and it was a great idea, but as far as how it really worked, it was really frustrating to a lot of people. So we told Jim Bagley, the owner of the Grace Company, said we need to develop a machine. So they did get started on doing a prototype, and every time we go down, he'd show us where they were at on that machine. And it took them about 5 or so years for them to develop that machine. They originally were going to have a big manufacturer um, buy all those machines. They were going to do, I think, 1,000 or 1,200 of those machines, and it took them longer to get it developed than they thought. And so when it came time for them to say, hey, we're just about ready with that, those people said, well, that ship has sailed. We're not interested anymore. And it really worked out for us because they knew that we were really interested, but we didn't have money to buy 1,200 machines. And so they said, okay, well, uh, you and Kathy can go and sell these machines, but you can't use our name. And so it was really tough for us to get started. And our very first show was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we went there, and actually, it was they got us in the show. We were up on the third floor, and it was, we had the machines, everything shipped there, and we set it up, and there was all sorts of things that were really difficult for us to do at first, just because we'd never done a show like that. I mean, I had that experience in Chicago, but still, it was a new thing. But we, uh, the first day, people just walked past our booth like, yeah, there's another, long arm machine I can't afford. So we decided to put a price tag on it, say, hey, this is how much this is. And people back then, they could get like a machine and a frame for like $29.99. And that blew people away because Handy Quilter and all those other things were, about 5 or 7,000, for just inexpensive ones. And so when they saw ours, they were way excited. And so we actually did really well for our first show. And we had several other shows that the Grace Company used their name to be able to get us into the shows. And that was really helpful. So we really thank them for them giving us that opportunity to get things rolling with KathyQuilts and selling our Block Rocket machine. And then, since then, we've done a ton of other shows. And, after a while, we had our own name. And so we could go and do all the shows. People knew who we were. But it's just been quite a journey. We've gone back and forth across the U.S. Just several times. We have been selling these machines for the past 8 years. But in the meantime, Kathy, before we started doing all that, she's done over 4,000 quilts, and so she's really a successful machine quilter here in northern Utah. And and so she has a lot of experience. And one thing that I've noticed over the years is that there are people who are accomplished quilters, meaning that they can follow pantograph patterns or they can do other stuff, and they can do a really pretty good job. But the difference between that and a gifted quilter, this is somebody who can look at a quilt and just has a really good feel for what goes where and what's going to bring out the personality of a quilt. So that's what Kathy does. And I've met many other gifted quilters in our journeys and doing different shows. And there's a lot of great quilters out there. And the thing is that's exciting is that anybody can become an accomplished quilter. And after they get those skills and they have the right machine, and um, that's going to help out a lot. You pretty much can quilt with any machine, but the reason why we like the Grace Company machines is just because the Grace Company just builds quality into all of their things, and so do other companies as well. I'm not saying only Grace does that, but the thing is, they are always innovating. They're always making things better, trying to make it so that anybody that would like to learn how to quilt can do it and not have it be way cost prohibitive. So they're able to do it just a wonderful job. They have great customer service, and so we like to emulate that as well. We like to have Kathy Quilts have the top customer service and be able to help all of our people to be successful. So really appreciate you taking time to watch this video, and if you feel that it's a help or um, that it's a really interesting thing, please. So thanks.
Hi, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So sorry about those technical difficulties. Glad you could join us today at the Grace Company. We're here with Lynn from KathyQuilts, and we're having a wonderful time here. We just have watched a video about the history of how KathyQuilts got started. Lynn, what is your favorite part about talking with people about quilting?
The thing I like the very most is just helping people that don't think that they can quilt, showing them that they can learn, and not everybody's going to be a wonderful quilter out of the gate, but you know what? Nobody just starts playing piano generally just sitting down and playing. So it just takes practice. But once you learn those fundamentals, anybody can be an accomplished quilter and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And Allie, what would you say is your favorite part about talking with people about quilting and getting started?
I like to hear how they got started, particularly because sometimes, they say that they learned it from, their parents or their grandparents, and it's kind of a generational hobby. Or sometimes they say that they got into it for maybe Quilts of Valor, mm-hmm. or to donate quilts, get into more of the charity side of things, or they met someone later in life who quilted and they said, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So I love to hear what got them started and what kept them into the hobby.
Yeah, my favorite thing about talking with people about quilting is just to hear their passion, right? Because it is not a hobby that you casually do, right? Exactly. Quilting is passion, right? And I love so many things about what we have and can help people get started quilting. It's all about solving those problems, right? And getting to that point. And so first we want to talk about really quick, we want to show how you can get all these amazing products you're going to see on the show today. We're also going to talk about some amazing deals. So first we're going to talk about how you can get hold of Lynn at KathyQuilts so that all the amazing prices that we're going to be talking about, all the things we're doing today, you can go to the website at KathyQuilts.com, but to get the special pricing. So we're doing our October sales early for just Lynn, and he's going to get going on those. And so to get those special October prices, which I was looking at yesterday, and they are just phenomenal, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, we've got some free frame stuff happening. There's some big discounts. So email Lynn at order-team@KathyQuilts.com or give him a call at 888-826-0222. And Lynn, you'll ship all over the country, right? Like
yes,
there's no limit.
Yes. Yep. We do anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah. So don't wait. Get ahead of the schedule, right? Contact Lynn right now so you can, contact him right now. But
yeah.
He won't answer the phone on the air. He's right here.
No.
But as soon as we're done, he'll start looking at those emails and get those voicemails answered so that you can get those ordered and find out the amazing pricing that we've got going on this week ahead of October, which is really like that sneak peek. Yeah. So we want to welcome everybody that's coming. We've had some other people say where they're here from. We've got people from Wisconsin and Maryland and Utah. We want to welcome everybody. Now, before we get going into welcome RJS7. So before we get going more into our next video, which is going to be from Carla Jerome on our free motion fundamentals. So we've talked about how do you get started into quilting? It's really about those key pieces, right? All those things. One of the things I love about Carla is she is always, when I'm sitting by her in a meeting, oftentimes she's doodling if we're in between sections, right? Like right before the meeting starts. And that doodling, that really does help your muscle memory to get going with when you're quilting your pattern. So that's just a tip that I'm going to give you that I know Carla always does. But first, we're going to do our first pre-registration giveaway. Now, this prize was chosen at random. It's the 10-foot luminous light bar. We talked about that a little bit earlier. The amazing thing about the light bar is that it is LED, so you can leave it on and it's not going to get hot. I know when we're at shows or everything, I've seen Lynn do this too. You turn on the light at the beginning of the day, people come by a couple hours later and they're like, is this going to heat up my area? And I always love when you reach up and touch the light and just say, I've got my hand on the light right now. It's warm, but I'm not burning myself. Yeah. What's your favorite thing about the light bar?
I love the true color matching.
Oh, yes.
You always, whether I'm a crocheter, so I like yarn, but you're always in the store and you're trying to figure out if this color is really going to match, and then you get home and it doesn't match. The best thing about the light bar is what you see under the light is what it is, no matter what.
Yeah, there's no cross. And now the 10-foot light bar can go up to 11 feet as well. There's some extra give on those guides. So if you've got, but if you have a 12-foot light bar, contact Lynn if this is your win, and get the 2-foot extension. Yeah, yep. And then you can go up to the 12 feet on that. And if you don't win any of the amazing prizes that we have, again, let's put up Lynn's contact information. You can email him at order-team@KathyQuilts.com or 888-826-0222, and he can help you get any of those amazing things we're doing. So without further delay, let's do a drum roll, shall we, for our pre-registration person? And boom!
Carrie Simpson, congratulations. You are the winner of the 10-foot luminous light bar.
Congratulations, Carrie.
Yay.
I'm so happy for you. I mean, I swear it's going to be my next purchase, is the light bar, because I just, I go where my crafting room is at night. It's completely in the dark. There's no, I have a little tiny light, but those crochet threads get a little small. Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. Just a really quick story. When we were in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at first, we didn't have a light bar. Mm-hmm. They didn't have one back then. And so they came up with one, and they moved this the next year down to a different place. And it was so dark under there. And in the first, it was like a 4-day show, but the first day, people just would walk past our booth because they couldn't see anything. And so we called up the Grace Company, and they overnighted a 10-foot frame to us, and we got it. And as soon as we set it up, it was like moths to a flame.
Everybody's coming through.
Oh man, it was just, and nobody else's booth in that area. I mean, they just couldn't see it. And so we found out how important lighting was, and people just loved it.
Well, I love, so we have a comment here from RJS7. He says, she says, I love I can move it around my area. It's true. Yes. They do have casters on there. So you can move it over to the quilting frame. When you're done with that, move it over to the cutting table. It's not set up in a permanent spot. So congratulations again to our winner. We are so excited for you. Now we have your information because it was part of the pre-registration. So we have your email. We will reach out and let you know that you won in case you're not watching. And then we'll let you know, we'll get your information from you so we can ship that out to you. So next we have our fantastic free motion fundamentals part 1. Now we are going to be doing some additional events, right, Lynn?
Oh yeah. We're going to get to where we're doing these every month.
Yeah. So our next one, so everybody can put this on their calendars. We'll talk about it again later, but November 9th at 2 p.m. So put that on your calendar. We'll do another one where we'll show part 2 of the free motion fundamentals. So let's get started with that right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, I get to talk to you about something that I really enjoyed as a quilter, and that's free motion quilting. And I've done a lot of research, and I've been able to learn free motion quilting really on my own. Yes, there's some great quilters out there, and they have a lot of good advice, but a lot of new beginners don't know where to start or why it's important to do certain steps as you're free motion quilting. And they just bypass it because it becomes a little difficult and they think that they're not artistic enough to do their own thing with the free motion quilting and drawing out designs. And so I just want to help you become more confident so that you are taking tips and techniques that I'm teaching to be able to go and give you the confidence and do your free motion quilting. So, doing my research, I had to think back of where I started, and I started quite a while ago. And so I have gotten better with my free motion quilting, and a lot of it comes from experience, and the way that you're able to sew across your quilt. Now, think back of when you first started sewing or first started writing or first started walking. You take baby steps, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today is the baby steps leading up to it. Now, when you start quilting, a lot of quilters think they want to be this fabulous quilter right out of the bat, and you're not, okay? Because the machine's a little smooth and it's easy to make little wobbles in your designs. And even today, all the professional quilters are not perfect quilters. So allow yourself the learning curve. Just say, you know what? I've got to learn this and know that it can be learned. I mean, we all have to start somewhere in the quilting process. And so the first place I want you to start is practicing. And I want you to think about getting a doodle notebook. This notebook will help you come as a resource. It helps you practice drawing your designs, and that practicing as you're doodling is so important because it helps your memory retention as you come to the quilting frame. It allows you to remember which directions you need to move or how you want to draw the design. This doodling part of quilting is extremely important and something that if you're not doing, it's so much fun. You know, if you're sitting in front of the TV or you're just sitting there talking on the phone, put your phone on speaker and start doodling and just practice your designs while you're talking, because then you're doing two things at once, and that even helps you even more because it helps you remember the direction that you're supposed to draw, but you're doing another exercise talking at the same time, so you're trying to focus on two different items, so it helps you to multitask. So those are great tips and tools. So if you have any free time, just sit down and doodle. No matter where you are, even if you're in the car just riding along, listening to the radio. If you're the passenger, don't do it while you're driving, okay? But if you're the passenger, just doodle away. And a lot of our phones have pens that we can doodle as well. So start a doodle notebook. And start with easy designs. When we first started our penmanship and writing, we started out with easy, simple little things. And with a lined notebook, it helps you work on your proportions as well. So I have my little doodle notebook that has the lined papers in it. And as I started doodling, some of the first easy designs are just little waves and loops. And just start using the alphabet, the cursive alphabet, not regular letters, but the cursive alphabet is a great resource for designs in quilting. So this is a small case L and a little E. And I've just did 2 lines to show how I did the L, but I did the single distance between the 2 lines as the E. And I just, mastered that. So, and then another one is like a U. So it's a curve and an up, down, up, down, up, down. And like I said, the proportions on the lines really help you make it nice and even all the way across. So just to show you, and then as you're quilting, you can just do L's all the way across. Then you can add L and then an E, and you can do the U's. You can make them a little smaller, but then you can start adding elements to it. So you can do a U with a circle underneath, and then you curve over the top, do a circle again, and then you move around and you do your circle again. Then you'll add a circle at the bottom of your U, and then at the top of the U coming across the top, so that valley and hills. Let's call them valley and hills. So you'll add a circle on the valley, and then another circle on the hill. And so you'll just move across, and then as you're working on your designs, what you'll do now is that we're just making the distance a little longer using my lines. So instead of just 1, I'm using 4 so I'm doing my little circle on the hill. And this will help you work with your meandering and learn how to stipple. So if you'll practice, and then practice changing the direction of how you quilt, that also helps your memory. And also change the position of the design on your quilt. So this is just upside down E's, and then I started doing upside down L's as well. So you can see that this would make a fun little element in a border or a sash sheet, doing the different directions. Now this is a capital L. It's just a nice loop coming back. And again, these lines help me keep my proportion of my design so that I have it proportionally correct. Now, it doesn't help with the distance, so if you're concerned about the distance in between, you could just measure going across like this and add little lines so that you can keep the distance correct and the circles correct. So there's lots of ways that you can practice your doodling. Now, this is a fun design as well. So this is just kind of a zigzag. It's so simple, but you wouldn't realize it. This is my start point right here. And I moved up at a diagonal to this line here. Okay, on my sheet of paper. So I went diagonal, then I went towards, if I was in front of it, it would have been the left, okay? So it's the right on me. So move to the left as you're sitting in front of it. And then you'll come back down to the diagonal and you'll move to the left again, and then you'll go back up, and you'll just keep doing that all the way across. So you have this little fun design. That's a fun one to practice. And so challenge you to practice something new and a little different. Then, as you're doodling, another fun thing in your doodle notebook to also help you learn how to fill in different shapes. So I'm just using simple squares for my shape, but you could use a hexagon or a triangle and try different things. So just draw them in your notebook and practice with little filler designs. So this isn't even complicated at all. It's just a design that I did in the valley and the hills. It's a little longer, but I just went across making them vertical, and then I came across and made them horizontal. So it just changes direction. And on a quilt, it's very pleasing to the eye to have the different directions because it draws your eyes different areas. So practice on that. Then notice that now I started in the corner with my valley and hills, and I went this direction. So now I probably leave these two blanks. So try different ways of quilting. You don't have to fill in every area, and sometimes that can become a little messy. And sometimes you need that little space that has nothing in it whatsoever, and that makes it more pleasing as you're looking at it. So sometimes when a quilt has too much on it, it's hard to notice and recognize all that beautiful quilting, and sometimes less is more. So just decide how you like to quilt and what you like. Doesn't matter what anybody else likes. If you like it, that's great. Okay, now stippling. A lot of quilters think, wow, let me start with the stipple. Stippling is actually a little harder than you would think. So practice in your notebook and practice in little squares so you can get the puzzle movements down. And stippling is just curves like a puzzle piece. and going in different directions to kind of make it look a little meandering across your page. So start in one corner, don't lift your pencil, keep going. And you'll notice that where you get hung up in a corner, just make it a little smaller and then come out. All the puzzle pieces are not exactly the same little size. They have small ones and large ones. So it doesn't matter if you get caught in a little corner. Notice that I kind of did a little erasing. That some of them are a little smaller because I was getting closer to my corner right here. So I kind of got caught there. So I had to just make this a little smaller. So practice that. And you can even practice it with points or spirals. Now, this is a fun little spiral design. It teaches you the basic beginnings of a spiral because spirals are not that easy to start with. So what you'll do is you'll come in and bring it to a point and then come back out. And I just kind of made it a little popcorn flower. And then you'll just come out and make it to a point. Just practice, practice, practice. And practice this all over your page. You know what? The more you do it, the better you'll become. So another simple design, I just wanted to show you about the spirals since we did the little popcorn, is this is a closed loop spiral. You can notice that as I come into it, I've got it really close to the same loop and I echoed around it. This is an open spiral because they're not touching. This is a closed and this is open because this one here, I closed it because each of the spirals are touching the next one. And this is open because they're not even touching each other. So it's going to cover more area more quickly as you're quilting. This is going to take a little bit more time because it's a little denser and closer together. So just look at the proportions and what you like and how you want to quilt. Okay. And a couple other little tools that I think are valuable for you. As I was working on processes and ideas, start again. I want to remind you, if you're not confident with free motion quilting, start simple. You can make a beautiful quilt with simple, easy designs. This quilt right here, I wanted to show you. It's open spirals, but it kind of gives you that movement. So as we were looking in it, it looks more like tree. And also we added names in this because it made it fun. It's like when kids were smaller, I put their names in things so that they would look for it and it keeps them engaged and excited about what we're quilting. So I added Charlie's name here. Okay. Now right here for the background, I did some stippling. And then for my flag, notice that I did the waves back and forth. And how much fun that is. Simple design. And then I did my stars. We all know how to draw stars. You just add stars and little loops to keep them going. And that's really it. Those are really, and then on the house here, we just kind of did some U's. But nothing complicated. But look how much fun the quilt is. And just from those simple, easy designs, boy, you can create beautiful quilts. And that's how we started out. It was just something simple. This is a really old quilt that I did a long, long, long time ago. Now, the quilt on the back wall is a little more complicated because I had more experience as I was quilting. Notice that in the sashing, I just did the loops. Simple, easy, but it's eye-catching. And in the center, I did the little X with some, it's a little feather X, if you want to call it. It's not really a wreath, but the back of the quilt is just as fun as the front of the quilt. So, and then I kind of took the feather design, with the little circle that I used in the sashing and the square, and added it to the border to keep it going. And the border was so easy to do. It's just a little paisley, a couple of them, and then a spiral. Nothing complicated, but I took some time and practiced before I started quilting. And I also positioned things off. My border, I sectioned it off to get my proportions correct. And your doodle notebook, as you're doodling and coming up with new ideas and new designs, is a great resource for you to look back on for your quilting. So the next thing we want you to do is get a piece of clear template plastic, okay? And you have a rougher side and a smoother side and a dry erase. And then this allows you to draw your designs on it, to see what designs you like. So I'm going to position this along my block here that I want to fill in. What I'm going to do is kind of section it off here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I could start here in the corner, go like this. That kind of looks fun, a little different. And then you could just keep going. And then just keep going this way. So that's kind of fun and a little different. So you could do something like that. And then we could come down here to this smaller square right here and then see what the loops look like. And you know what? Sometimes those mistakes are happy mistakes. See, I'm talking, doing what I'm telling you, and not. So just take this template plastic. It's a fun way to see what your design will look like and if it's what you want on your quilt. Then once you've done that, I would suggest drawing it on a piece of paper and then unthreading your needle. And then I'll just draw my design. And you're not sewing the paper to it or anything, you're just seeing what it looks like. And you can pin your paper to it, but just make sure that you have the movements down. It kind of looks cool on the paper too. There you go. That's kind of fun. So try that and pin it down and practice your tracing on the paper. There's a couple different ways that you can use this, but you know, try these techniques and use them and practice your free motion quilting before you jump in and actually start quilting. It will help you become more confident in your abilities, and it'll allow you to remember how your designs work and which position you need to move your sewing machine to get to the next design. Really important. So let's thread our machine, and I'm just going to come down here and do my little loops right now. And you can see that I've just drawn on my fabric the design. Now, there are some really good markers out there that are water soluble that you can draw on your quilt, but I haven't found the best one yet. Once I do, I will let you know. But for right now, just use the chalk because I do know that it comes out. And don't use too dark of a chalk, just very lightly. Use a pencil as well. The simple little designs are the best way to start. I'm going all the way to the top. And just start moving across. And have fun while you're doing it. You know, learning can be a fun process. Because you could be excited about what you're learning and that it's new and different. I don't want you to be the type of quilter that feels like you have to stitch in the ditch all the time because that's what you're good at. I want you to try new things and new elements and add new ways of quilting. Try new things. Be different. One other thing I wanted to show you, it's kind of pleasing to the eye if you're changing from a large to a small, to start with a large and end with a large. And it just makes it more pleasing to the eye, because then you think, oh, they ran out of room or something like that. So just make sure that you start with a large and end with a large, or if you're starting with a small, end with a small. It works a little nicer and it's more pleasing to the eye. Just a couple more things as you're quilting. Just a few thoughts that I want to bring to your attention is, as you're quilting, even free motion quilting, getting your quilt on nice and straight really does help it turn out more even and beautiful. If you put your quilt on uneven, it's going to look a little uneven and a little sloppy. So as you're putting your quilt, use your cloth leaders, or make sure that your edges are nice and straight. It just makes a lot of difference as you're quilting. And it keeps it from moving up your quilt at an angle or down. So make sure that you have a straight line going across your quilt and that your edges of your top and your bottom are nice and straight. And if it's a piece top, make sure that you're positioning your top where you want that strip or wherever you want that block to be. So if you want to spray baste as you're positioning it, you can. I do not like to baste. It's something that I just don't want to do. So I'm very aware, because my backings are always piece, of where I want that center, if I want it centered or if I want it off to the side. Then the other thing is as you're quilting, just recognize that there are different size throats of machine. I'm using a 19-inch machine, so I have quite a distance I can travel, and I could make a larger design, one big, huge design. If you have a smaller throat, then the size of your design is going to have to be smaller and in proportion that you can quilt it without hitting the back of the machine. So as you're quilting along, if you have a smaller throat, then you're going to hit the back of your machine and it can mess up your design. So make sure that you know how far you can quilt without hitting the back of your machine. So I like to, with my chalk, just mark. So I'm not going to mark it down here past the foot. You're going to want to mark it up here before it hits. So I know that that's how far I can travel without hitting the back of my machine. And then if I hit the back of my machine, it's going to mess up my design and cause me to have a straight line because I'm hitting the back of it. So make sure that you do your markings as you're quilting along and that you're tacking down the edges of your quilt. If you happen to sew off the edge of your quilt as you're coming back onto it, I'm just going to show you right down here. It can fold over the edge of it, but also it can get caught between the needle and the foot, and you can sew your quilt block down in your foot, and then you're just going to have to cut it out. Or be really careful as you're unpicking it right there. So notice that this is extremely important, and a lot of, one that I learned the hard way. So learn from me, okay? I do not like to unpick, but yet I made a big mess by not tacking down the edges of my quilt. And so ever since then, I've been very religious about tacking down the edges, even with free motion quilting. And even if you're quilting inside this area, it's a good rule of thumb to always tack down your quilt edges, because you never know if you're accidentally going to sew off the edge. So those are just a few rules and techniques. And I look forward to you joining me for part 2 of this, where I'm going to show you some accessories for free motion fundamentals that you can use to help ease you into that process. So join me next time. And please, look at the spring fling, look at all the beautiful quilts that are there. If you have quilts, enter them and join me again for our next free motion fundamentals part 2. Welcome everyone. I'm Carla Jerome. This is Laurel, and I get to show Laurel how to use this fabulous little cutie frame. First of all, it's very easy to put together. It is a solid little frame. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to vibrate off the table. So no need to worry about what surface you're really doing it on. You just want the table to be nice and level. You could even use it on your countertop, in your RV. It's just such a nice portable frame. Now, Laurel, that you've put it together, just make sure that you can move the carriage side to side, front to back freely. After you've set your machine on the frame, the height of this pole here is called a take-up pole because it takes up all your quilt after you've quilted. A good rule of thumb is to put your hand underneath with it laying flat, and you can tell it just barely hits, and so it's the perfect height right underneath here. So then, just coming and looking at this, you want to make sure that this pole, see how it kind of angles down just a little bit? Just make sure that it's even right underneath here. So to put your hand right across here and kind of tell.
Ooh, okay.
Let's talk about the sewing machine. These right here, these are called feed dogs. They grab the fabric and kind of push it along as you're piecing or sewing. These need to be down so you have a smooth surface to move your quilt through. The other thing is the foot that you use. You need an embroidery foot or a quilting foot, something that makes it easy for you to glide across. You just want a smooth foot that you can easily see. Then the other thing is bobbins. I like to wind several bobbins before I start so that I don't have to stop in the middle of it. So look at your project and decide how much quilting you want on it and kind of guesstimate how many bobbins. Let's talk about preparing our pieced quilt for quilting. If you're going to piece your back, just make sure that you've ironed it and pieced it correctly. So we're going to lay our pieced backing, and I have gone and found my center of my backing, the top, and I've marked it with a pin, and the center with the bottom. So this will help me line up my batting. And I found the center of my batting as well, top and bottom, and I pinned it to my backing, and then I just pinned the sides. So now all I have to do is line up my pins, and I can just move it over and line it up. And that's all we have to do. Let's talk about leaders. I have a few inches on the top and a few inches on the bottom. The leaders are an extension of your fabric. If you don't have them, you will need to make your backing that much wider and that much longer. One leader's got cording in it to help you start rolling it up. You'll find the center of your leader. I'm going to just take my pencil here, or my pen, and just mark it. And I write a C for center. I'm just going to take my leader, and I'm going to line my backing up all of my pins, and I can take one pin and just pin straight across. And I'm just going to do that all the way across my top. And so we'll quickly do that. And the same thing that I do at the top, I'll do with the bottom. You'll just pin it straight across. And you'll always pin from the center out. And the reason is if you get a wrinkle or anything like that, you're pulling it from the center out so that you can adjust. Now this leader is quite a bit longer, and that's for your larger size quilts. So don't cut it down. It's not going to inhibit you in any way. It's just going to help you. You do the same thing with the bottom one, and the bottom one's even wider. So as you get to the end of your quilt, the leaders allow you to quilt all the way to the edge of your beautiful quilt that you've created. If you didn't have them, you'd have to cut a portion of it off because you couldn't sew because it'd be wrapped up over the pole. And I have a couple of sets because I get bored with my quilts, and so I like to jump from one project to another. So sometimes it's nice to have two sets. And with these frames, you can take them on and off and start on something new. We're going to slide our leader through the arm of our machine and adjust it to start quilting. We want to make sure we're putting our backing and our batting and everything under the foot. One thing I want you to notice, your carriage and your machine will only go so far before it hits the sides. So if you move your machine all the way to the side, you can notice that eventually your machine and your carriage will hit the side of the frame. And we don't want that to disrupt our quilting, okay? So I'm going to adjust my starting side out away so that as I'm starting, I'm not going to hit. I'm going to move it all the way down. But I want to make sure that I can quilt this edge, okay, without it hitting.
Okay.
And now we can start putting our clamps on. And you want to adjust it also so that you can start right on this edge. So you can pull the batting up just a little bit. And so bring your machine out where it's going to start. See, we have that much area. So let's pull it up just a tad more. And there we go.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll put my needle in the down position. So what I like to do now is make sure my back has no wrinkles in it.
Okay.
And so I like to just pull it. And then sometimes I'll baste across the top edge to hold my quilt in place as well. So we'll have you do that in just a minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to now put on our 2 bottom clamps. Okay, and they go on a specific way. So you look at the name right here. This name has to be showing correctly, and we want to take these up off.
So facing you.
Yeah, facing
Or
you.
cutie like I
Yeah, so the cutie needs to be facing so you can read it, not upside down, okay? And as you clamp it on, and clamp it down. And it comes with 2 side clips, so you can put them on. And it comes with 2 side leaders also, so you could clamp that on and pin it so you get extra tension. And helps keep it nice and straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull our quilt out, and we're going to start rolling it up. And you can look at your wrinkles on the back as you're rolling. I've got one right here. Just pull it out from the center out, just like you would on a rolling frame. And just keep rolling. Now we're just going to clamp it. Let's start rolling this on, and we can clamp this as well. And make sure you're counting all your little clamps, because if you leave one undone, you'll notice it and feel it. Okay, with this frame you can sit or stand. If you're using a machine that requires a foot pedal, you will want to sit. So I'm going to have you sit down. You want to make sure that your machine is threaded correctly. And so make sure that you have the thread pulled through your tension knob and through the spring so that you get that tension. But right now you can tell that as I pull this, how easy it is to pull.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
because your presser foot, which is this foot right here, and this is the presser foot lever, isn't down. Once I put the presser foot down, you can feel that tension. And so you need to remember to put the presser foot down. Otherwise, you're going to have really loose tension, and your thread's going to look like shag carpet underneath, and you don't want that. Once you have the presser foot down, you want to make sure that you bring your bottom thread up. So find the needle up, needle down button on your machine, and it'll go down, and then push it one more time, and it brings the needle back up. Now, if you'll just barely move your machine away, see how it's going to pull up that bottom thread?
Okay. Yeah, the loop.
So that you don't have any of those thread tails underneath, okay?
Okay.
So you just pull that up. One other thing I want to point out is we want to tack down the edges of our quilt, just in case we sew off the edge. Notice that my foot is underneath my quilt, so if I sew off the edge and I start coming back, it's going to grab that quilt and make a wrinkle in it, and it can even tear your quilt. So what we're going to do is move the machine down as far as we can. We're going to lift up the presser foot just a little bit, put it on that wide area right there, because it doesn't matter how straight it is. I'm going to cover this with my binding. So when you're pushing down on the foot pedal, if you push too slowly, the machine's just going to barely start revving up and start moving, just like with a car.
Okay.
And so you want to make sure that you give it enough acceleration so that as you're pushing it, your stitches look decent. And you're going to go up to this corner and go across as far as you can reach.
Okay.
Okay, now start going across. See how easy that is? There we go. Now you hit the back. So now you can hit that
Now I
thread
do
cutter if you want. There you go. So now we've tacked down our quilt. Laura, do you feel comfortable just jumping in? I've drawn the design on for you and start to quilt, or do you want to practice first?
I've never really done this before, so let me practice.
So practicing to get the motor skills and the thought process is really important to free motion quilting. So just take some time. We got our paper here.
Okay.
And Laurel has a pencil. You could maybe kind of draw the design through the paper, and it doesn't have to be exact. It's just to learn the motion so that you understand it before you start quilting. Take a piece of paper, lay it over the fabric, and just trace an outline of them so that you can understand the proportion and how far up and how far down to move.
We'll start with just that.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So just move it off to the side here and just see what I've done. So you're just going to start up there, and you just start with this one right here.
So just done
And just go up, down, up, down. It's really easy. I chose really simple, easy designs to start out with. But even the simple, basic designs like up, down movements make your quilt that much prettier.
Yeah, well, this is good for me because like I said, I've never really done this
And
before,
that's
so
all you do.
simple's good.
And then when you feel comfortable, then we'll just start. Yeah.
Loop, loop. Okay, I think I got a good idea.
All right, I've taken a chalk pencil, and in the star area, I thought it'd just be fun to just do a nice little long loop. One other thing I want to point out, with the hoop frame, because you have covered up most of your area, you don't know when you're going to be coming close to the end to hit it.
Yeah.
So we'll take a little piece of tape, move my machine down here, and we're going to mark it just inside this area. This block right here is as far as we can move. Now the front. You know that you're not going to have enough area to quilt this block here or part of this block, okay? So we're going to have to just focus on this area up here, and then we'll shift it so you can do this whole block all at once. So you're just going to focus on this top row, and you remember how to pull your thread up.
Yes.
Take a deep breath.
Okay.
And start out slow, and you'll get very comfortable, and then just enjoy.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
There you go. Good job. And you don't have to stay right on the lines. It's just nice and smooth. Yeah. It's fun, isn't it?
Yes.
There's your first one.
Boom. Okay, I got this.
Yes. She has it.
Okay, let's try just a little bit of this one.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start right here.
Uh-huh. There you go. Nice. See, she's getting more confidence, so she's going a little faster, just like your learner's permit.
Yes.
There you go.
Awesome. Look at that. I can totally do this.
Yes, you can. We knew that all along. So now, well, we've got Laurel quilting. I'm going to talk to you about the different machines that this cutie frame can accommodate. Up to a 19-inch machine. So you can put the 15M, the 15R, the 15 Pro, or the 19-inch machine on this frame. And what's nice about it is this piece right here extends out, so it can give you more quilting surface for you to quilt. Another nice feature is you can add automation to it. You are not limited to the way you want to quilt. If you are not comfortable with the free motion quilting, you can add automation and have it do the quilting for you. It's just a fabulous frame. It is for anybody and everybody. If you need a second frame and you like to quilt on the go, this is the frame for you because you can fold it up, put it away, and store it and get it back out. If you're a seasonal quilter and you have a second home and you need a quilting frame, hey, this is good for you. Somebody who's in assisted living who wants to keep doing what they love, this is the frame for you. And you saw with Laurel, man, she's going for it. She is a quilter now. And are you liking it, Laurel?
Yeah. I just want to keep going.
Laurel has finished up everything that she could quilt and as far out as she could quilt. And so now she gets to shift the quilt to finish up the next section. So that's what we're going to do right now. When you're rolling or when you're shifting, you don't want to roll it up all the way past so that you have a space in between as you're quilting. So you want to leave a little bit of what you quilted showing. So maybe about a ½ inch.
Okay.
We'll just shift it down this way. And we'll just lock it into place and you can finish up and then we'll roll it up.
Okay.
Let's lock all these in place first.
Okay.
I always like to lock these in place so I can get the wrinkles out. All right, and let's just pull this up. Kind of pull it out like that.
Oh, yeah.
And put it on. And then we'll just lock it into place. She's going to just finish this next section, and then we're going to shift it and start rolling so that she can finish this. And then I'm just going to come around here. And with your leader claws, you get a little leader to hold right here, but I'm just going to hold it.
Okay, I think I'll tack it down really quick.
There you go. There you go. Nice. Right there. There you go.
Okay. Come in and do these sections.
All right, she's just got a few more to do. And see how quickly she's mastered using her domestic machine and the design. It really does help to draw your design in your blocks. And she's mastered the foot pedal, thread cutter really well. Don't you feel like you're kind of in your groove? You've got your rhythm,
Yeah,
you
just
know
keep
what you're
going.
doing. It's
Yes.
comfortable now.
Yes.
All right, what we're going to do is unclamp and we're going to adjust it so it's up just a little bit, okay? Take these off. And this cording on this leader cloth just helps to make it a little easier for you to start rolling your quilt. Let's move the machine over here and make sure that we have enough room that we can quilt this.
Okay.
And so that's what we want to do. And because when we put our clamps on, let's put this clamp on first, then let's see where it lands. Okay, that's pretty close, and we're going to hit the back there. So we don't want to, and we can't even quilt the whole design.
Okay.
So we know we've done it too far, but that's what I'll do, is I'll sit there and I'll adjust one end.
Okay.
That way it's easier to line up all the way down the quilt.
Gotcha.
Okay, there we go.
So then you can see.
Can we? Yeah, we can. Close.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to say, even just doing this little bit of section, I really like the domestic machine because I think it's a good starting point. But I find myself wishing I had a bigger throat space just because already I could have stitched maybe this whole section.
Right. We'll just put this on and pull it as well. So let's just pull this section right here. And I'll let you put this one on. Quickly roll it up.
Let's pull up the chair.
Remember, we need to mark so that you don't hit the edges, okay?
Okay.
So you can take your existing piece, and let's move it down this direction. Let's figure out how far we can do it. Oh, right there, that's almost perfect. So you're just gonna stop right there, okay?
Okay.
Nice job.
Awesome.
Laurel has mastered quilting.
Yes.
So Laurel, this is your very first time machine quilting using the little cutie tabletop fabric frame.
Yes.
So, was it easy?
Yes. Oh, yes. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It was super easy to get the hang of, to be able to just hook it on.
Could you go home and do it by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
If I wasn't there to coax you along
Yes.
and help you. And did you enjoy it?
Yes, I already want to keep going. I just want to keep doing the whole thing.
She's going to keep going. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you've learned a few things and purchase your Cutie tabletop fabric frame today.
Welcome back, everyone. We're so glad to have you still with us. We've had a wonderful time. I'm Janet.
I'm Allegra.
I'm Lynn from KathyQuilts.
Yeah, and we're so glad to have everyone here with us and to have Lynn in studio. It's so wonderful. We've been chatting while we've been watching the videos about the history of KathyQuilts with the Grace Company and how our customer service modes combine, right? Like that was one thing we were talking earlier was like, you know, when that's one of the best things we love about all our dealers is, and especially KathyQuilts, is that when we are talking about our customer service, we know that KathyQuilts will also take care of their customers, that it's hand in hand, and it makes a great partnership. We're so happy to have Kathy as one of our KathyQuilts as one of our dealers. So, but we watched some wonderful videos. We saw the Free Motion Fundamentals Part 1, and there were some great tips. People were commenting, "Oh, I really love this tip." There was one. Let's see if I can find it here. It was. They were talking about, let's see. Okay, so they said, I love custom quilting, love that quilt. So it was one that, so thanks, Alita, for that comment. It was the one that she was working on. And then someone else said, oh, that's a cool tip. And that was the plastic patterns that she was practicing on first before she finished quilting. What was a tip about free motion quilting that you guys like?
Well, one thing that Kathy will do a lot, and it's kind of like that she'll put press and seal on her quilt and then use a magic marker. And so then she'll take that one off and set it off to the side. And then she'll do several different things when she's trying to figure out exactly what's going to look the best to fill in an area.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
So and it's really inexpensive, and you know that way when you get the one that you like, you don't quilt through it, but you just have it set it off to the side. So it's something if you need to practice on something else, then you know you would do that. But yeah, anyway, Kathy, just there'll be several things that's so much easier than unpicking.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a way of life with quilting, but nobody loves the picking part. Another tip that I really like that Carla does is she talks about that doodling, right? Like to draw it first and then practice. Because as much as we think that this motion isn't the same as this motion, it really is. But when you take a piece of paper, you're signing it with your hand. You're not moving the quilt. So the paper is like the quilt. And so you're designing with your fabric and your thread. What about you, Allie? Was there any?
I was going to say doodling.
Doodling?
Yes, I love that. Something that you can just do every day during your free time is something that can help with your quilting.
Yeah, and so again, if you are wanting to watch part 2, that will be on November 9th. We're going to have another event with Lynn here from KathyQuilts and the Grace Company. We're going to watch part 2. We'll have some other things we'll talk about. But watch this space, I guess, is the right way to say it.
Yeah.
For all the schedule of what's going on that November 9th. And that's going to be at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you can set your calendar and your clocks and your schedules and everything. The other video we watched was how to quilt on the Cutie frame with Carla and Laurel Erznosnik from the sales team and education. And now one of the things I love about that video is how confident Laurel gets from the beginning to the end. You know, she starts out, Carla's talking to her about it, kind of getting going. And by the end, she's free motioning from the very beginning, you know, and she's just like, I want to finish this quilt. I want to get things going. What is one of your favorite things about the Cutie?
I like that it's storable and you can take it anywhere if you want to. I love to do things kind of anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that the Cutie can be, you know, maybe in your living room or in your crafting room or maybe even outside, or maybe you can take it on vacation with you.
Yeah, we talked to some people who like to put it in their fifth wheel,
Mm-hmm.
or take it to the cabin and quilt
Yep.
in nature for the thing.
Yes.
What are some comments you've had, Lynn, from people that have been experiencing the cutie?
It's just that it's so compact and it's just so easy to use. And you can use it with a domestic machine, or you can use it with a bigger throat machine, up to a 19. So it's just a really awesome frame. And even though it looks like, well, yeah, is that really going to work? It works great.
Yeah, I love that you said the 19 throat, because people will say, like, well, what can I really put on that cutie, right? Like, what size frame or machine will fit there? So the carriage, it will fit 11.5 inches or smaller with the sewing machine clamp. So just measure, that's the smallest part of your machine. If you're sitting in front of it, that's front to back. If it's toe to end, then it's the side to side. So if you take those clamps off, because there are some machines that have a bigger footprint, like embroidery machines or anything like that, maybe the base is 12 inches. So you can take those sewing machine clamps off, and so you can get a little bit bigger. But the throat space, I wouldn't recommend anything under 7 inches.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose a couple of inches for the rails, but because the fabric rolls up on the top, then you're not going to lose any additional throat space. But if, again, the more space you have, the bigger quilt blocks you can do. And who doesn't love big quilt block designs, right?
Yeah.
So what was one thing that you liked about the cutie film that we were doing?
Put me on the spot.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh, let's see. I like that they demonstrate the cloth leaders in that video. I get a lot of questions on how to attach the hoop frame cloth leaders. And so I really like that we get to see that demonstrated.
Yeah, and a lot of people will ask, and it was one of the questions we had, even though the fabric for the cloth leader goes larger than my quilt I'm working on, is that okay? You don't want to cut that cloth leader because you're going to want it later, then you just have to get another set, right? So you want, if you're going to be doing you always measure from the middle out. So you're going to measure your hanging quilt or your baby quilt, your twin, your double, whatever it is, up to that king size. And then that excess just floats over the side. And that's one of the things I love about the cutie, is that you can do any size quilt. I'm not limited, because the only place I could put a big, large frame in my house is in my garage.
Yeah.
And my car kind of likes to live there. So I can't put a quilting frame in there, but I can put the cutie in my living room. I can put it in my kitchen. I can put it in my craft room, wherever it is that I want to quilt. So that's my favorite thing about the cutie, is that I can put it anywhere. So we do have another chance for another winner. This one is our Quilters Combo. So this is our True Cut. Now, if you've never had a chance to look at any of our True Cut products, it is the more easy, accurate, safe way to quilt. It has a track and guide system. So this Quilters Combo comes with the 6.5 by 24.5 inch ruler, the 45 millimeter comfort cutter, and that can be left or right-handed, and then a package of True Grips. Now, 30 True Grips come in the package.
Big and small.
Big and small. So there's 15 large and 15 small. But it also has, in between those sections, are little diamond pieces. And I say, don't throw that away. Use those too.
Use them, yes.
Yeah, because they're just as big as the small section. You don't have to be round to use the comfort, the little True Grips. So yeah, if you don't get a chance to win this product, there's a way for you to get it by contacting Lynn at KathyQuilts. So you can email Lynn at order-team@KathyQuilts.com. You can go to the website at KathyQuilts.com, or give them a call at 888-826-0222. Now, Lynn, you have been around almost as long as True Cut with the Grace Company.
Yes.
So what is your, some things that people have said about True Cut as you demonstrated and showed them?
Basically, they just like the safe, a lot of times that blade on a regular thing, it's sharp, and you just have to be so careful. And it's just nice to be able to have that safe way to cut, and it's accurate.
Yeah, and the accurate part, I really like. I have a tendency to veer to the right, so I'm not cutting myself, but then I'm cutting extra fabric, and I need more fabric for my quilting. I don't need it for my scrap pile again, right?
It's too expensive.
Yeah, so that's going to be fantastic for your quilting area. So again, if you don't win our quilters combo, which is our most popular combo, then contact Lynn at KathyQuilts and he can help you get that started. And it comes in a fantastic new bag.
Yes,
So
I love that bag.
the bag is free with the kit as well. So drum roll, please, for our winner, and we'll do our random choice.
Ready?
We got a person?
Yes.
Oh, yay! Okay.
Yay.
Congratulations, Mary Massey. You have won the Quilters combo. So we have your email. We will contact you for your address and phone number so we can get you it sent out. And again, if you have any questions about any of the products you see today, again, you can contact Kathy Quilts and they will be able to help you. You can go to their website, but for all the special deals that we've got going on, and again, we're doing our special October deals ahead of time. We can't talk about them completely here, but contact Lynn. He can tell you about all the fantastic deals that are going on. They are really, I mean, it's blowing out of the water.
They're
so
spooky good.
they're spooky good, yeah, in October. So again, congratulations, Ray. We're so excited. We'll get that sent over to you. So our next segment, we're going to be talking about some of the new products that the Grace Company has come out with. And so we wanted to show them to you. First thing, we're going to show some different ways that you can get a hold of them. So Allie, what's one of the first things that we've got for everybody to see?
The first thing that we have is, let's see, I'll hold it a little closer. It's called the Quilt Perfect Ruler Foot Kit.
Awesome. And so what is it about the ruler foot that's different?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, in this kit, you get this little ruler that's only available in 2 sets.
I love exclusive things.
Yes, so it's available in this one and
something we'll talk about later.
we'll let you
We're
sit
gonna
in anticipation.
Yeah, sit
for
in
a little bit.
anticipation, yeah.
So we have this little tiny ruler that comes with it. It's great for maybe some of that smaller ruler work you need to do. And then it'll come with 3 different feet that we'll kind of show you on the back as well.
Let me see if I can pull them up as well here. So as we're talking about it, but why don't you describe about them?
Absolutely. So we have the rolling foot, and this one moves as you go along the foot with your ruler. This one reduces friction and allows it to glide around or along the ruler a little bit easier. And then we have the precision foot. You can't see too well. We're going to get some pictures up for you, but it kind of has a cross that goes through the middle there. And what that does is it helps you improve your accuracy, and it gives you exact starting and stopping points to get those exact lines that you want to get. And then the very last foot is called the True Track foot. And like our True Cut and our rotary cutters, our rulers have that little lip on them. This foot is able to hook onto that lip of the rulers to give you that kind of accuracy that you're looking for, that way you don't stray away from the ruler when you're quilting. So when you're working along it, it'll go on there and just go across.
And it has a little bearing on the bottom, and that's what helps it roll.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can see that I've got a zoom in shot for us of the 3 different rulers. So why don't you tell us which one is on which side?
So the one on the left is the True Track foot, the one in the middle is the rolling foot, and the one on the right is the precision foot.
So now these are available for all the Qnique machines. So there's one for the 15, the 19, and the 21. And we have come out with some new machines, but if the inches for your machine or your accessories match the inches for the new machine, then you can use those the same way. So don't feel like, oh, I've gotten a new machine. What do I do with all these accessories? The only thing that doesn't match sometimes is the rear handles, but we'll go over that just a little bit more. So thanks so much for showing us about that. What should we talk about next for our fantastic new products?
I don't know. I feel like Lynn has something maybe. Ooh. Oh, there we go.
It's my purse. Oh, wait, no.
This is our True Cut travel kit.
So
really nice little
couple
case.
Straps, yeah.
And so
a shoulder
you
strap
can shoulder,
and then some just regular
and then
hand
these
straps.
handles. But it has some really awesome things in there.
We can move this over a little bit.
Okay.
There we go.
So this has it's grippy.
So
And
to hold all your
you can,
quilt on the, or pattern on the fly.
Yeah.
Piece on the fly.
and then it has a piece of naga hide that will go over it too.
Hold it in place, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that that's double-sided. So on the other side, it has a cork board that's covered so that you can either pin it or kind of do that flannel board
Mhm.
section. So you have both things.
Yeah. So you basically can, if you're piecing, you just put it on there and then, so this is made to take with you.
Now I'm going to do a quick image so they can see at a glance some of the tools that come with this as we talk about it. So why don't you talk about, so we've got that ruler. So that was what we were just talking about. That 3x8 ruler comes with this kit, as well as this set that holds the pattern pieces together. But you can also see that it comes with 3 different marking spots. We've got some pins and some sharpeners for those marking tools. But one of the things I really love is it comes with this cutting mat that fits perfectly in the slot.
This is also only available in the True Cut travel kit. Not available separately, but I love it. It's so small. It's so cute.
It's perfect. And it's perfect size for, Lynn's holding the 28 millimeter straight cutter. So that comes with the guide as well, with the whole kit. So my other favorite thing about this kit is, Allie, if you'll grab that pattern set, it comes with a pattern for the postage stamp pin cushion. It's a great first product for anybody to try out for quilting. And it's a perfect size to do in the travel kit. So you're not having to try and figure out, oh, what pattern do I do, or what's going to be too small. So it's a wonderful pattern. Again, it's free with the whole set. And again, special pricing for October. Contact Lynn. He'll be able to tell you all about that. What's your
Tell me
favorite?
about this, Jen.
Oh, this is the magnet. Why don't we open that up and see?
Yeah.
So it is
I love opening things.
a magnet. So whenever you're quilting or sewing or anything, right, you're always wanting your pins in an easy, accessible spot.
We have pins.
We have pins as well, right? Like everything comes.
Everything comes in this kit.
So let's see if it works with the whole thing. Oh, all the pins being held on there. It's a very strong magnet.
And I don't want to lose the pins.
Don't want to lose the pins. And it just sticks on your wrist. So you can use it both ways, right? How many times have you lost a pin, drops on the floor? Yeah. And so you can quickly pick up those pins or slap it on your wrist and hold it as you're doing the pinning.
Absolutely.
So the other thing that's great, I'm going to pop up that image again so you can see a little bit closer, is the purple seam ripper. It's got a special tip on there that helps grab those threads really easily when you're having some images. So
matches your shirt.
Yeah, it does match Lynn's shirt. So it's fantastic. It's got that great edge. And when we were selecting the items for this, we didn't want to just select any seam ripper. We wanted one that had a great tip so that you could grab those threads as you're going along.
And so this rubber part right here,
Mm-hmm.
it's like an eraser. And if you just go like this, it helps to pull those threads out.
Yeah, so you're no longer having to like grab them, get tweezers, all those kinds of things. Oh, and then yes, the 3 when you pop those up
pencils. Again. You have a regular pencil with an eraser at the bottom. You have a white colored pencil, and then you have a blue dress
So whichever
pencil.
fabric color you're using, you've got a marking tool that's easy to use, right? And then of course you need to sharpen with that. Yeah. So I just love this True Cut travel kit, right? Because it's stylish. That's one of my favorite things. It's a hard case, so you're not going to squish everything inside of there. It's got the 3-ring binder, so you can connect all those things. And if you have other things that you want to put in that 3-ring binder, you can do that. It's got spots to put additional patterns and fabric in there. It's also got slots for your other tools. So if you're taking a different tool, you don't have to just do the pieces that are in there. You can put other things. And then it's got that great pocket for, you can see that cutting mat just sticking out there on the side that comes exclusively with that. Now, one thing about the cutting mat, it is a 5-layer cutting mat.
Yes.
And it is double-sided, right?
I mean, you can't really
You
tell.
can't really see it.
I mean, it's pretty thick. It's not like flimsy or anything.
Right. Yeah,
so,
it's sturdy. It's going to easily, when you put it on your lap or anywhere else, it's going to keep you going.
Yeah.
But it's double-sided,
that's gonna-
self-healing. Remember again, though, don't just leave those kinds of things out in a hot or cold cart because you don't want them warped or
Or
crack it,
cracking.
anything like that. In normal temperatures of your car, they will be fine. But we're talking extreme heat and extreme cold. So, okay. So anything else about the True Cut travel kit we need to talk about? We've got all the
Well,
things.
just the scissors
Oh, we got some
and the
scissors.
the
True Grips.
True
I love True
Grips.
Grips.
Nothing else that you need. I mean, you just
That's
add fabric and
everything.
go, right?
Yeah, you just need your own fabric and you're all
Yeah.
set.
Okay.
It's awesome. Has
So,
a
and
zipper pocket.
again, special pricing for October. I'm going to leak it right now. It's 20% off.
Oh,
So
sweet.
contact Lynn, special pricing. We're pushing up our October pricing. So don't wait. Get a hold of KathyQuilts so that we can get that ordered for you.
Yes. Let them know. Contact Lynn. Their information is right there. Write
Oops.
it down.
Okay, so our next piece.
Which
What else
one?
we got going
Which
on
one?
here?
I mean, we got 2 pieces.
Oh.
Maybe I'll just reach my hand down here
And
pick out
pick-
a random
pick one. Okay.
Whoop. All right. We got the Magnifique.
Ooh.
This is relatively new, probably one of the newest, if I'm correct.
Uh-huh. And it comes automatically with the 21X Elite machine. However, you can add it to any of the Unique machines, or this is part of my favorite, you can add it to your domestic machine.
Exactly. So I'll show you some of the key pieces here. All right. If you're adding it to your domestic machine, you've got this lovely piece right here, has sticky on the back. So you'll stick it above your machine right where the needle goes. And then this magnet, which hooks onto here. Just like that. And then you can
So I
lift
have an
it
image.
up.
Let me pop that up here so you can see it attached to the machine. So you can see there it's got the needle just gets magnified. Now, it doesn't just come with one magnifying glass. It comes with three different versions. So we have a 5 times magnifying, a 3.5 magnifying, and then what's the third one? I think it has it on the front cover there.
2.
2.
So a
2,
3.5, and a 5.
Perfect. So, and again, my other favorite thing about this is you think, oh, it's attached to my machine. What do I do then?
Bam, handle. I feel like the great mouse detective over here, you know? So amazing. It's adjustable angle-wise. Pop, 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 pop. And it just comes right out. And then you can switch your magnifying.
Well, and just like in the image, you can see it's attached so that piece at the top there is going to attach it to your machine. You're not going to have any problems switching it back and forth between the handle and then getting the chance to use it with your machine. And it has that adjustment because a lot of people were saying, well, how can you quilt looking at the needle that way? And it's like, you don't have to. You can flip it up and look at it normal. It's just while you're threading and having the option. Have you had a chance? You guys got the 21X,
Yeah,
right?
Yep, we do. And it's really cool. It makes being able to thread that so much easier. You just flip it down and it's so cool.
Yeah, and that's what I love about all the products that we're talking about today. They came from people saying, oh, how do I solve this problem, right? Like, how do we see better when we're threading our needle? And so that's one of my favorite things about the Grace Company is all the innovative products we're trying to get so we can make quilting easy for our customers. Okay, so I saw you grab something else. What you got on your lap there?
I didn't grab anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I have our free motion starter kit.
Free motion starter?
Free motion starter kit. Now, I mean, didn't we just watch a video on the fundamentals of free motion?
Yeah.
So what's in here? All right. You have tracing practice sheets.
Always good.
You know, Carla talks about doodling. Doodling's important, getting that muscle memory down, understanding how that movement works. So you got those practice sheets.
Well, and the thing I like the practice sheets is sometimes I might doodle something that maybe isn't right for quilting. And so I love this because it tells you this is a typical quilting image or what will work well on a quilt.
Now, we're not just going to give you practice sheets and call it a starter kit. So
fabric and batting and backing as
yes,
well.
exactly.
Oh my
Everything you
goodness.
need to make a lovely little practice quilt. And it has the tracing on here as well. So you can follow along, practice with the doodling and then practice on the fabric.
So
Lovely.
now you're saying we've got the patterns, we've got the fabric. Is this only for long arms?
It is not. So if you have a domestic
Like I
machine,
didn't know. Yeah.
if you have a domestic machine and you're like, oh, I really want that, but can I use it? The answer is yes. This will come with pre-wound bobbins, M class for long arms, L class, and 15 class for domestic machines.
So whichever kind of machine you have, the 3 pre-wound bobbins, as well as 2 spools of thread. So really, when we say starter kit, right?
We've
got
starter kit.
marking tools, we've got sharpeners, we've got the thread and fabric.
Pencil, sharpener.
Yeah, so everything ready for you to start, as well as some instructions on what do I do to get started with free motion, all those kinds of things. From what you've seen so far, Lynn, because I know you haven't had a chance to play around with this kit yet.
Yeah, it's new for me.
Yeah, what do you think the quilters will be most excited about?
Well, I think that what's really nice is a lot of times you get your machine set up, your frame set up, and then it's like, well, what do I do now? And so what this is for is like, this is exactly what you do. And they give you all the tools, all the thread, everything you need to be able to just start quilting. And so you'll practice on these first, so you feel more comfortable. And then after you do that, you load your quilt on. And since it is a practice quilt,
Right, you don't have to worry
practice.
about it. Yeah, 'cause
Exactly.
I know sometimes people are like, well, what do you do with the fabric? Or what fabric do I use to practice? Because I don't want to try it out on my real quilt. And so this pack gets it all started for you. You don't have to worry about, and trying out the finesse thread. So finesse is a brand of thread that we have. It's specifically for the Grace Company. It's a 1,500 yard cone. So it's just enough, right? It's not too much so that you have to figure out what to do with all that one color that you got for one quilt. It's not too little so that you're having to get a lot of different spools. It's enough to do a king size with some bobbins, but it's a 50 weight, 3 ply, and a 1,500 yards. So it's going to be set. So you can also try this out as well. So maybe if you were like, oh, I want to try out the finesse thread, but I haven't had a chance yet, here you go. This whole kit gets started for you.
Yeah, and what is finesse thread made out of, Jana? Can you tell me?
It is polyester, but has the look and feel of cotton. So with a lot of times with quilting, especially with long arm or mid arm quilting, you want to make sure that you have a polyester thread, usually because it has that strength. So sometimes cotton can fray or break, and then
it gets brittle.
Yeah,
And
over
linty.
time. And linty, yes. So this is less lint. It has that strength, but it is a matte finish. So you don't have that shine like with a lot of polyester thread. So free motion starter kit. Again, fantastic pricing right now. Contact Lynn. We'll get that going. So next on our list, we have our new 19X Elite Unique machine. It's a fantastic. We have just a little tiny commercial that we're going to run for you on it. It's about 90 seconds. So I'm going to pull that up here. It's so fun. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay. Oh, thanks so much for watching that quick video about the 19X Elite machine. One of our newest Unique machines has those amazing features that it talked about. So the one thing that always stands out to me is that larger screen, right? Like what a game changer that is.
Yeah, and it has all the help files and everything. It just makes it so like you don't have to go grab your instructions. How do I do that again?
Yeah.
So really nice.
And I love the edge warning. That one's really fun to do. And the fact that I can turn off the beeping or the lights, whichever one I don't want, as well as all the other tools and tricks. Now, some of that we're going to talk about in the next video. We have the 21X Elite that we're going to show. And all those tools that are happening in the 21X Elite are also what's available on the 19X Elite. And then also, I want to let you know, so the 21 fits on the continuum frame, but the 19 fits on every frame that we currently have. So that's the QD, the Q-Zone Hoop, the Q-Zone Queen, and the Continuum. So if you're looking for like your path, like, okay, I'm starting with the QD and eventually want to go, if you get the 19X Elite, that one will grow with you as well. So don't worry about that. So let's get started on our 21X Elite demo.
Welcome everybody. We are so excited to be with you today. My name is Mark.
And I'm Laurel.
And today we have an exciting product in our Unique line. When they told us we were going to be talking about this new machine, you and I both were like, we're on it, because we wanted to be the first to discuss this revolutionary new Unique 21X Elite.
Woo!
Yes. Now in our Unique line, for those who been part of Grace for a long time or just now watching for the first time, we have our Unique 15 series, we have our Unique 19, and we have our 21 series. And in our 15 and our 21 and 19, we have our Pro machines. We have our 15 Pro, we have our 19 Pro, and we have a 21 Pro. Today, we have our new revolutionary Unique 21X Elite, and we are both excited to talk about the features of the machine, what this machine can do, and why it's industry changing, and we're so excited.
Yeah, you know, and Mark, it really is, you just said it is an industry changing machine, and that is absolutely correct. We're going to go over, like Mark said, the machine and some of the features that it has, but there is absolutely nothing else in the industry like this machine. It is an absolute stand on its own, top end machine that is going to absolutely change your quilting experience. And actually one thing that we've done is actually change the out of the box experience with this machine. And kind of with that is we actually helped make it so when you're first originally taking this machine out of the box, you simply can pull it out and we have it set up where you're able to actually set this machine directly on the wheels. So you can just, pick it up, set it on there, and then screw the wheels on. A much easier process. You don't have to hold the weight of the machine. You now can let the styrofoam hold all that weight for you.
That's right. You're going to see right out of the box, right out of the gate, that experience that you're going to have is just going to transition all the way to when you're quilting. And we'll talk about some of the features when you quilt, but yeah, that out of the box experience is going to be awesome.
It's a wonderful feature.
I know when I take out just even our 15-inch machine, if you already taken out a 15-inch machine and you're getting it out of the foam, it could be a little bit challenging. So the 21 is really, really nice in that feature.
Yeah, and one thing that's actually really neat, part of that out-of-box experience is actually some of the instructions that we have for you guys. We actually have it now where we're going to have some automated instructions that'll help just give you a little bit more of some visual aid on how to assemble this machine, which is huge. Instead of having to go flip through the instructions, which you'll still have, you can actually again kind of see and have someone walk you through that process, which is going to be awesome for you guys that are a little bit better, with visual aids.
That's right. So we're going to dive into all the features. This is such a quiet machine, easy machine, very user-friendly, from the screen to the handlebars. Just everything about this machine you're going to love. I know from the past shows, we've done shows, and I've used all of our machines. This is the best machine that we have. Absolutely. And if you've been looking at a long arm machine and you've been wanting maybe to upgrade your own machines, start with the 21X Elite. You can't go wrong. You're going to be happy, and it's going to be just awesome companion in your quilting room.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is really revolutionary about this machine is actually the user interface. And this is actually kind of interesting. When me and Mark were first kind of getting told about this machine, you know, we jumped on it like, oh, we got to introduce it, right? We're actually being told a little bit about that user interface and how actually we had one of our engineers who went to a show with us and actually walked around just, you know, test the different machines, get a feel for them. And one thing that they had found is that they actually didn't know how to start the machine or even use it without having to ask someone.
Which is crazy.
It
You're
is.
looking at a screen and how do I start this? That is crazy.
Yeah, and so with that, we've made it so that anybody, and I mean literally anybody, can walk up and know how to start and really use this machine to its fullest potential, which is crazy, right? You would think, yeah, I should be able to know how to use a machine, but you don't. This time, again, anyone can walk up and use it, and it's absolutely wonderful.
That's right. We're going to look at 3 patented features that we have on this machine that no other machine has. Okay?
Yes.
One of them is the edge warning. What is the edge warning?
So that's a great question. So I think when you're quilting, you kind of just get caught up in the moment. You're really enjoying yourself. You're really into design. And so when that happens, sometimes you'll have the machine pulled too far forward, or you have a little bit too much to the back, you know, side to side there. But with this, it actually has really kind of cool 2 features, I'd say specifically within this edge warning. One of them is it actually has a sound warning. So it'll let you know, it'll beep at you, say, hey, you know, careful, you're coming up on the edge there. And then another one that actually is super neat is it has actually a light that can flash at you as well. Again, just to kind of notify you and say, hey, you know, careful, you're coming up on the edge. That way your designs, you know, can stay beautiful and even, and you're not going to, you know, run into the edge and potentially mess up that design.
That is just mind-blowing, because we've all been there. We've all pulled the machine up and we hit the throat. We've all went to the left. We've all been to the right, and we get caught up doing our just natural quilting that we forget maybe where we're at. Especially as a new beginner, you can get caught up that way. You know what? I want to talk more, but I want to see this edge. Can we see this edge warning in action?
Absolutely.
I want to see this edge warning, and I love that it has the color light to it. Now the sound is loud. But for those who would like to see the light, it will actually, that red light will pop up so you know where you're at on your quilt, which is, again, phenomenal. And let's go ahead and get this started. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to have Laurel go ahead and...
So one thing I actually want to show you really quickly is how you can actually simply go in and set that edge warning. So it's a very easy feature. You're going to just simply come into your toolbox, and it's labeled for you, edge warning. One thing that's great about the edge warning is you actually can choose to do a 1/2 inch or even a full inch from that edge, just to kind of give yourself what feels comfortable for you when using it. So this one, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch, which I just have selected here. If you wanted to change it, you could very easily go in and set it. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the top left, and I'm just going to use this right here. I'm going to move to the bottom right. And again, this is something that'll change just according to whatever space you're working with. And then now you can see it is set there. So then to go back out. And you can also see and tell that it is in place with this side of the screen here. It actually shows you that symbol again that you had when you first went to that toolbox to just let you know that that edge warning is on. And so then let me show you kind of what Mark had talked about really is the sound as well as the lights, which is a huge, huge thing with this edge warning.
I'm so excited to hear this, by the way.
Yeah.
We use it. I just get excited, and I can't wait to see this even again right now.
Yes. So just get it going here. So then you can see it there. So again, if I'm just kind of quilting here, as I come to that edge, it'll beep at me. And so one thing I do want to show, even maybe if we can, you know, we'll take a little bit closer look here at it, is actually the light that comes up, because sometimes, you know, as you're going, even though, yes, you hear, you might be a little bit in the zone, you're not really fully paying attention. So with that, we've added that light feature that will really highlight. So again, if you're really focused in on a design, you can still be warned and notified of that. So I'm just going to show really quick.
And one thing, it was beeping. When we set that, it goes all over, even from when you go from the top. So you have up here on the top and on the bottom, which is nice.
Yes, exactly. And so this is just where, again, I kind of want to show you what that light actually looks like when you're quilting here. So you can see, just normal. Then as I come to that edge, that light kicks on. So Mark, tell me, what do you think about it?
I love it, Laurel. It's one of those, I don't want to say subtle features because it's not. It is leading industry change with what we did. This machine comes equipped with everything you need. That edge warning is going to really save your bacon as you're quilting, because if you're like me and you come up, I couldn't tell you how many designs I had to unpick because you end up cutting it off based off of where you're out to the left, where you're out to the right, and in the front. So that edge warning, I love it. So now we've got two other features that we're going to talk about that are patented as well. What are those?
So one of them actually, it helps with the vibration of it. And so now all machines, when you're moving them, because you are moving them, have some slight vibration to them. But with this, it's actually really neat. When we were talking with the engineers, again, just when we were first learning about this machine, they talked about, all the testing they put it through to really make this the absolute top end of the industry. And one of those tests they did was specifically that vibration. And so when you do it, it just flows and rides very easily. So you really don't feel like there's any vibration coming from the machine. So it is that smooth movement, which again can help bring your focus back into the beautiful art that you're creating.
That's right, and we all love that. And last but not least on the patented feature is the directional hopping foot. Now this is awesome. We have quilters who like to have the hopping foot maybe in front, maybe to the side. It doesn't matter. You can actually set your hopping foot wherever you want, from the side of it, from the left to the right. And that just kind of gives you the feel. If you're comfortable with what machine you had before and it was on the side, you can actually move the hopping foot to that side. So we wanted to keep that comfort level with you. If that's what you like, that's what you can do, which is really awesome.
It is, yeah. And I think this is just, Mark had touched on a little bit there, but just really the comfort or familiarity of what you may have had previously is brought into this machine. So again, anyone can easily walk up to it and use this machine and feel very comfortable with it.
That's right. Now there's a lot to talk about with this 21X Elite. So many things. We talked about the 3 wonderful features. There are a lot of other features that we want to get into. One, we have a 7-inch touchscreen that you've already went through and talked about some of the stuff, but there are also other features on the screen that you can access that no other machine you can with. So let's talk about what you can access with this 7-inch touchscreen.
Yeah, so I'm going to just I want to show you guys again what Mark was talking about there is really part of this user interface that is so unique with this machine here. So really, again, very simple, very easy to understand for anyone walking up to the machine curious to take a look at it. So one of those is actually what we accessed earlier, which is your toolbox. And within your toolbox, there's actually some really cool features that are just very helpful to have. One of them is a measuring tool. And one thing we've made actually adjustment to is that measuring tool will update with you live. So as you're moving your machine across, you will actually see that measurement kind of again move with you as you move the machine. We have an awesome calculator. And then one thing that's also super neat is actually this bobbin estimator. Now I do want to go into this and show you a little bit more because it actually has an opportunity for you to have a memory in this and save a bobbin.
Oh, say that again, because that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
Say that again. You
have a way to save memory and save again the bobbin, whether it's the type of thread you're using, how many yards is on it. That's huge. Mm-hmm. That's huge.
You're in cotton and it's 40 weight, you can put it in there. You're using polyester 50 weight, you can put it in there. That's pretty cool. I love that feature.
Yeah, which again is awesome because this has that bobbin estimator. And so according to whatever, again, that weight, the yardage that you have, it can adjust it to let you know correctly when it's time to change it, which is huge. And then you also in here, you can actually change the name of that bobbin. So you can label it as anything you'd like. Then I just kind of want to go back into that toolbox just again, show you a little bit more. So there's that edge warning feature, which again, you can go in and adjust. Then there's also a project, which is just kind of a cool feature to show you again, where you can set how many hours, stitches, and all of that, just to kind of see, if you're curious on how long it's taking you to do that project.
Other nice features we have with the screen are the other resources we have. We built in and integrated help files within the screen.
Yeah, and then let me actually show you and kind of walk you through some of those. So very easy. Again, part of this user interface is that anyone can walk up and use it. So you simply come up here and very easy again within the help files. And even within this, we have some additional points that you can select. So if you want to look at threading your machine, how to know what needle to choose, again, winding the bobbin, all of that can always be found on here. And one thing that I love as well is that there actually is pictures that will take you through so you know exactly what part of the machine you're talking about and how to access it. So for this one, if you're to look there, again, it's just going to kind of zoom in and show you even just more features of that. And really, like Mark said, now to have all that literally at your fingertips is incredible. It's incredible. There is nothing else like that in this industry. It is absolutely unique to what this machine is.
I love that. I don't know how many of you have done this, but you get a manual with your machine and you set it aside, right? And you want to find out again how to oil it or what do I need to do to maintain it. Now we have built that within the screen. So if you did misplace your instructions, don't worry because it's right and integrated with our screen.
Yes, and one thing that's nice as well as you can see is there really are other options in here, help files that can be found. One of those is some maintenance and then troubleshooting. So if something ever were to happen, you know, or if you're looking at especially stitching, so the tension, there's some help in here to give you just, again, a really good starting point so you feel comfortable in taking charge of your project and what you're working on.
So many features about this machine. We only tapped into a few of them. Just like the rest of our QNIQ line, we have overspeed settings that you can turn on and off your overspeed. You have your lights, you have other features within this within the machines. This one with the lights, you can actually move the lights with a slider. So if you want the lights more dim or brighter, you can just actually slide it on the screen, which is really nice. And so the needle lights are really, really nice. But you can actually make them brighter or more dim if you like.
Yeah, and then let me actually show you how easy that is to do. So all you're gonna do is you come in here, go into settings, and as you can see, it is right there, very easy for you to see, and you can easily adjust it again to what's gonna fit you best. Sometimes if you're doing it at night, maybe you don't want it quite as bright so it doesn't hurt your eyes. And really just, again, you can see very easy to understand the screen and know exactly what you're looking at.
So Laurel, those are all awesome, fantastic features. One of the other features we have are built-in buttons with labeling so you know what button to push and to get you started. Because I know with our pass, if you're looking at it and like, what button do I push? The 21X Elite shows you what button to push.
Yeah, I think this just kind of comes back to that very user-friendly, anyone can walk up and use it. And so it really is an absolute simplified version. And not only that, we do actually have some printing on here so you can know exactly what those controls do. So there's a needle up, needle down, start and stop the machine, and this is simply to adjust, you know, your stitch speed or length. So really very easy. Anyone can come up and feel comfortable and ready and excited to use the machine.
The buttons with the other machines used to navigate through the screen, even with the touchscreen. This one, you use a touchscreen to navigate through our different modes. From precise, we have cruise, base, and manual. The machine is very quiet. I love listening to the machine. It is super quiet, really, really nice. And I just almost want to hear it again quilting before we get into some other features. If let's go ahead. I know you want to see it. I know you want to see quilting. So let's go ahead and just quilt a little more because I know you want to do some quilting.
Yeah, I do. Any chance I can to use this new machine, I'm going to take it. So yeah, super easy. And this is just kind of to Mark's point. It really is absolutely a very quiet machine. So I'm going to show you that here.
And it's such a beautiful stitch.
Yes.
I get us listen to that.
I know, I just want to keep going.
So nice. I love it, Laurel. I love the pattern that you're doing. That must be like a new pattern. It's fantastic.
It's something new I'm coming out with.
Yeah.
Sneak peek, you know?
That's great.
One additional feature that this machine has actually is it actually has a magnifying glass on it. And this is called the Magnifique. And this is a very unique feature because not only can it be used on the machine, but it also comes with some pieces that you can use it in your hand. So if you wanted to go back, take a look at your stitches or anything, or your beautiful artwork, you can absolutely do that. And so this is just to help those, again, if you're looking to thread your needle, it's wonderful to use because it just allows you to easily see the eye of the needle to make sure it can go through there for you.
Laurel, that is such a great feature to have, and that comes with the machine, to get the close-up on the needle threading, to take off and go along and see if you miss anything else. So what a wonderful addition to add to the 21X Elite. So pumped to have this out. Again, industry-changing features that you cannot find in any other machine, from the edge warning to the handles to the directional hopping foot, plus all the other wonderful features that we have, from the touchscreen, the ability to have the resources built into the touchscreen. There's so many awesome things about this 21X Elite, and I am really excited to have this on the market. We've been talking about this machine, and now it's here. It's finally here for you to upgrade from your 15 machine. Maybe you have a 21R or 21 Pro you want to upgrade. This is a beautiful machine to do so. Has a built-in bobbin winder, just like the other machines that work without having the machine on. Right? It's separate motor, so that's fantastic.
There is absolutely no other machine in the industry that is like this machine. It is uncomparable. There are so many things, like Mark had mentioned, that set it apart from other machines, that it is its absolute own beautiful standalone machine that is easy to use, comfortable, quiet, is going to fit everything you want to do. So honestly, I'm just always astounded because it really is like, wow. Why haven't we come out with this before, right? Why hasn't this been part of the industry? And so now it's just like, yes, it's about time, right? Like, I'm so excited to use it. And I wasn't kidding her there. Anytime I can and get to use it, I absolutely want to. And so it is an absolutely wonderful machine that anyone can use and absolutely, I know, will enjoy and love using it.
It is so fun to see this in action. We've been hearing about it, and now it's here, like you'd mentioned. It is here. It is here to stay. If you're looking at getting a 21-inch machine, get the 21X Elite. It is the best, fastest, quietest, with built-in features that you can't find anywhere else. So consider getting the 21X Elite. If you want to upgrade from your 21 series, now's the time to do so. If you have the 15, again, you can upgrade to the 21X Elite series. I love everything about this machine. It is so beautiful, very easy to use, and I just want everybody to have one in your home because we love using it ourselves.
Yes, get it, because it really is absolutely going to just make your quilting journey much more enjoyable and easier for you. And I just know if you get it, you're going to love it, because I love it, Mark loves it, we all love it, everyone, even our engineers, all the thought and time they've put into it really is amazing to see. And we did this for you guys. We are part of, and we actually are leading in this industry, and this machine is proof of that. So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we're so excited to see you next time.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. We're so glad to have you here with us still. We hope you really enjoyed that in-depth look at the 21X Elite Unique machine. So we've just got a couple more minutes here left. So if you have any questions about any of the products that we saw today, any of the new pieces, which, I mean, they're so fantastic, all the different pieces we saw. If there's anything and you're looking at those fantastic October, pre-October, but special only for Kathy Quilts sale pieces, then give Lynn a call at 888-826-0222 or order-team@KathyQuilts.com. But you can look at all the products, right, Lynn, on the website at KathyQuilts.com.
Right.
But the special price, and they have to get
special
hold of you.
prices, maybe what I'll do is I'll just I can email them the PDF file.
Okay, there you go. So
Great.
you can know about it ahead of time, but
Yeah.
it's not on the website. So call in or send an email to get that special pricing. So if there's no other questions, if you have anything else you want to find out, again, we want to remind everybody about part 2 of the Free Motion Fundamental Motion video. We're going to be doing November 9th at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to do part 2, and then we'll have some other events coming up. And then also December 8th at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, we're going to do another event then. So we got a monthly event here with Grace
Yep.
Company and Kathy Quilts. So it's going to be super fun. but we want to do just one last giveaway
Oh,
for
yeah.
the last thing.
The important, the grand prize.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is our cutie bundle. It's the cutie frame, the bungees, so you can do that side tension, and then 8-pack of finesse thread. Now, the finesse thread that comes with this is 4 solid and 4 variegated. Perfect little bundle to get you started on quilting. It's going to be fantastic. And we're going to, again, pick this person from our registration, people who have pre-registered for the event. So if for our next events on the 9th and the 8th of November and December, you know, if you want to be in the drawing for all the giveaways, just make sure you pre-register on the Grace website.
How soon can they actually do that?
Anytime. So you can start tomorrow to get pre-registered for the
Yes.
November 9th and November or December 8th. So we'll have those all ready to go. So you can get into the drawing. And again, these are all randomly selected from our winners. So again, let's do a drum roll for our last winner. Boom! Patricia Edmiston, congratulations.
All right.
Patricia, we will contact you via email to get all your contact information, your address and your phone number, so we can get that out to you. Again, that wonderful prize. Now, we're so happy for Patricia and anybody else that did not win. We're hope you can contact Lynn at KathyQuilts and he can get you all set up on any of those prizes or items that you would love to purchase, right? Any last words from everybody?
I just really appreciate everybody that signed up and attended our event. And this is really fun. So I look forward to doing a lot more events just like this.
Yeah, so join us again November 9th and then December 8th. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Thank you.